Everybody. My name is Allie Edwards, and I am here today with three dear friends and co-leaders in an adventure that we call One Little Word. We are a group of people that like words, love words, are passionate about words. And for a number of years now, we have each chosen a word, and then we come together with a group of people, a community of people who are interested in also walking along on a path with their word over the course of the year. We do a workshop that has a monthly creative prompt, and then each month we also do a Zoom call. And the Zoom call is one of the things that people in our community tend to love the most. And on those Zoom calls, we have a conversation and we talk about the prompt, we talk about our journeys with our words, how things are going, highs, lows, kind of all of those sorts of things. So today the four of us wanted to come to you and share our words with you, share a little bit about ourselves, and share a little bit about why we keep coming back to this project. And that's what this video is going to be about. That's what we're here. That's what we're here for. So first off, I'm Allie. Like I said, I started picking a word in 2006, I think is the first time that I did it. And then in 2011, I started doing a workshop that I led on my own for a number of years where I wanted to have some reason to come back to my word every single month. I wanted to have a touch point. I wanted to have an opportunity to do something creative with it, whether that was photography or some mixed media or just responding to prompts. So for me, having some sort of an accountability or an invitation to come back to the word has been really important over the years. In 2020, I asked some of these ladies to join me so that I wasn't alone in my adventure anymore. And that was the best decision I could have ever made. I love this project. I am somebody that, shows up every month and finishes each one every month. And I love being able to look back over all of the years and see my own personal growth and see things that have been easy and things that have been hard. And this is just a project that means a lot to me in my life. So for this year, for 2020, whatever year we're going into, 2025, my word this year is going to be curious. I love it because I think it has all kinds of different threads that I can pull on it. I will probably have a lot of supporting words this year as I am curious about different kinds of things over the course of the year. Um, I Anytime I pick a word, I never know who knows what's gonna happen. None of us know what's gonna happen over the course of the next year, but I will use that word as a lens, and that's how I will approach looking at my life through the lens of curiosity. And I feel like that's really what I need in my own life. So that's a little bit about me. We're gonna have Lou chime in next.
Hello, I'm Lucretia, but it's okay for y'all to call me Lou. There's some people who I tell they can't call me. They'll be like, "Hey, Lou." I'm like, Lucretia. So if you can call me Lou, that's a good thing. It also lets people know how you know me because of the iterations of my name. People can kind of tell how someone knows me. But I have been doing one little word for probably as long as Allie has been picking her word. And then following along with the project and everything too. So I've never finished binders until I joined this team. And I was actually really proud to finish the last prompt for this year. And I was like, you did it. You did it. You have a complete binder. This is great. But the reason it was so great to finish it this time was that I really felt like it was a completion with this word, but it was such a good completion with my word. So my word for 2024 is vibe. And moving into 2025, my word is going to be magic. And I meant to have confetti I could throw up. Then I realized that I didn't want to clean it up. So that's why I'm not doing the magic. So imagine confetti is flying up whenever I say magic. But the reason that magic came to me is because I feel like I'm at a point with my words that I really want to start experiencing what it has for me because I'm no longer in a place of trying to be perfect with the word. So I'm looking forward to seeing what does that look like. Am I looking for magic? And it's kind of reminds me of curious in a way, Allie, because I'm looking for it, but I'm also open to serendipitous moments with it. And I will definitely have companion words. So vibe is going to stay on as a supporting companion word. Previous words that I've had recently that I remember were opulence and iconic. Love those words, but they're kind of in the background. But vibe is staying real close with magic. And other words that I'm exploring that may stay with me is Renaissance. I just like how it looks. Fancy. And you know what? I have a phrase also. My phrase for 2025 is act up, sis.
Oh.
Act up. Show up and act up. Be, allow that personality to show up in a room. Don't shrink. So it's going to be really interesting seeing how magic, um,
It's kind of like bee magic.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, it's going to be active. I'm really, really going into this curious this year, not with no preconceptions of what the word is going to be. And honestly, couldn't be journaling going through this journey than with four better people that I've had some secondary conversation about, these words and everything. So yeah, that's where I am.
One of the things I think is cool about what you just said too is that I think all four of us, when we pick a word, we are approaching that word from a place of curiosity, right?
Mhm.
Like I think that, we pick a word and we're like, okay, I'm going to be curious about this word. I'm going to investigate what does this word mean to me?
Yeah.
And, we kind of in our community, we've developed a little bit of our own language, right? So we all talk about words and how much we love words and once you start once you allow yourself, I think, to listen to the way that kind of words work in the world, you start hearing them everywhere and you start paying more attention to them and and which is a positive and a negative, depending on how you feel about it. But I think for us, we just all love words and we like seeing how focusing on a single word can make a difference in the way that we think about ourselves, the way that we approach the world. Like each one of us and people in our community, we're all going to learn something about ourselves over the course of the year. Like we know that to be true. That's 100% true, whether you do the prompts or not, right? Just through participating, through listening to conversations, through being together and having a focus point, we're all going to learn something about ourselves, which is that's what I'm here for. Like I love that part about it. I always want that part. Yeah. Lou, yes. Good. Magic. I can't wait. Okay.
I
I
love
want
that.
I want some confetti later, maybe.
There will definitely be confetti,
Okay.
even if it's digital confetti.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, Liz, you want to go next?
Well, I want to first just say, Lou, you always push me. Like when you said fancy, I went, ooh, like I
Yeah.
mean, it was at least internal.
Yeah.
I may not have done it with my body, but I was like, fancy.
Yeah.
You always push me on the words in a way that since I'm a word person, blah, blah, blah. But you'll choose words that just push me to see what would that
Yes.
feel like? It
Yeah.
like gets me to dig in a deeper way, but with through a lens of joy often.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Because the words you choose tend to have, at least from the outside, there is an aspect of joy to them to me that,
That's
oh, that's going
exactly
to be fun.
it.
And maybe fun
Look
is the
at
word.
you.
Ah,
Look at you. You're absolutely right. I think that that's the ultimate goal
Yeah.
is retaining. How can I retain that level of joy? And
Yeah.
which is why I think I had shared, some years back that I had the word endure. No,
Yeah.
there was
Yes.
nothing about joy. That word means long suffering. I
yeah.
did not
Yeah.
want to suffer for a year
Yeah.
with that word. So I have been on a quest for joy. Where is it? What does it look like? And Vibe really released me from expectation to accept whatever magic is getting ready to
Yeah.
bring. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's gonna be a fun ride.
Yeah.
It's oh Liz, let me
Well,
write
I love that,
that
this
down.
thing that it's partly what thrives. So, hi, I'm Liz. I love
Here,
words.
well, hang on one second. Before you go, I just want to say two things. One is if you're watching this right now, we do have past videos of us talking about how we choose our words and words that we've picked in the past. So you can watch those on YouTube. And there is also, if you're wondering, like, what are we talking about the creative part, like as we're getting into this, there are also videos here on YouTube that you can see like walkthroughs of what my personal album has looked like, which doesn't look like everybody else's, but just FYI, those are available for you. Okay, go Liz.
Yeah. That's so good, because this is partly what we're inviting you to see as ways you can more than just choose it, but live with it.
Live
And we
with it.
believe in
That's right.
living with it through
Yeah.
conversation, through creativity, through writing, through lots of things.
Yeah.
I love that, Allie. Um, what I was going to say is, like, when Lou shares, I often feel invited to notice the lightness. And so that you can have, like, strength can be joyful, boundary can be light, all those things, right? And I talk about, if you're new to me, I teach about this term called the and space, where we can hold multiple things. And this class helps us navigate what I call the and space, where we can hold in a given moment, in a given day, in a given week, in a given lifetime, joy and grief, hope and uncertainty. We can be angry and want peace and take a breath and be present, all those things. And so I'm always looking for how can we navigate that and in between those different big feelings, experiences, memories, on and on that we have. They're not always opposites either. And when you share kind of your companion words, Lou, that makes me think about, it pushes me on, because I tend to be kind of more serious, even though if you spend time with me, I think I'm funny. I
Yeah.
think I'm kind of funny, but
Well, I
but
think
I
it's
tend
that
to
we
focus.
take like we because I feel the same sometimes too. Like we take words seriously. Like we
Yes, I could
and
get
not
too
that not
serious.
that not that Lou doesn't either, but it just
No.
like comes from a different place.
Yes.
Obviously, different life
Yes.
experiences, different everything too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And one of the things you'll learn, if you're new to this community, is one of the greatest lessons that, again, talking about Lou again, we're just doing the thing. I'm just talking about you since you just talked. Um, was we had a conversation about words, and it was something that I was presenting for the class. I wanted to talk it through with a fellow teacher. And she said to me, your word is already your word. Your word is already your word, which is so, it's like obvious and also not. And part of that, what you'll hear us talk about is, um, there's already meaning to the word. We put meaning on it. But when you choose a word and intention, it already exists, whether you understand it or not, whether you are excited about it or not, whatever it may
You
be,
fight
right?
against it or yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And so then you get to be curious. And
Yeah.
that's the piece that I like. Like, it already exists as something, but let's be curious about what that is instead of putting it in a box. Oh, I could never choose that word. And that was a lesson for me from that conversation. The word we were talking about was the word thrive. And I was saying, will thrive work with this prompt I'm doing? Let's use that as an example of a word that I think of as being kind of harsh, because I mean, we're going to be sick of me giving this example, but I still think it's a good one, especially when the outcome is I freaking love it. That thrive felt like strive, felt like rules, felt like demand things of yourself. And in that conversation, Lou looked up the definition of thrive. And as she shared it, which I'm not going to remember off the top of my head exactly what she said, but I said, oh, thrive is like a plant. A plant is just thriving. And then you need to move it into a different part of the room. And then this brought me to using thrive for my 2024 word and using this image of a greenhouse, and how, what do I need to thrive? What does thriving look like? Thriving doesn't look like A plus perfect days every day. What does thriving really look like? And so I do feel like thrive has helped me choose my year for 2025. And that word is make. The idea of making things, of having more creative play. Um, I a little bit, while we've been talking, have been thinking about like a toddler going, make me, like, what
That
other
is
ways do you use that word make?
that was perfect full circle. Yes. Make
You
me.
can't make me. And that would be, connect to, you can't make me doubt myself. You can't make me fear all the time. You can't, whatever it is, we could go on and on, but
I
what
just want
does
to
it
point
mean?
out just that is a great
Yeah.
example of the way that often we like to look for, or within our group here, to look for words that have different levels of
Yeah.
meaning, right? It
Yeah.
can mean make, as in like I am creative, I am going to make things, but it can
Yeah.
also mean make
Yeah.
me, or
Yeah.
other
Right. Other.
iterations
Yeah.
of the word
Making
make.
choices. Like,
Yeah.
what does it look like? So the actual making of being a maker, because partly what Thrive is telling me at the end of this year is, now that you have, and the quick version is, moved across the country to a new town, opened up a studio and store, done these things that you have wanted in your life forever. In order to thrive and continue to keep this feeling, you got to make, because make is where the joy is, make is where the secret sauce is, make is where you stay connected to mindfulness and creativity and who you want to be in the world. Because for me, creating, writing, crocheting, whatever it is, connects me to being present, which is my kind of overarching lens I'm always looking at myself and the world through. So I think for me, my words in the last probably 5 years or so have been a conscious and unconscious choice to keep me holding that thread of presence in my life, being right here, what that looks like, not rushing to the past or the future, but here. Not that I don't do those things too. Obviously, we all do. So I'm excited about it. I don't have a clear idea of what it's going to mean. I'm not starting with in January I will make, in February I will make, that's not it really. But it might become that, who knows? I think there could be a lot of different ways I go with it, but it's a lighter word for me, I think, in a way that I tend to choose words that, not that they're heavier, but that don't always have a lightness to them. I thought about joy, I thought about play, but thrive was like, you gotta make. So like, all right, all right. So that's
Make is
me.
a different kind of action. It's a
Yeah,
different,
it
yeah.
is.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
it.
yeah.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, Azari.
Hi guys, I'm Azari. I one of the things we talked about before we came on is why we're here. And I'm here because of these women, because of this group. You will not find another group so vulnerable, so open. So I feel like we work well together. Whenever we don't quite understand something, we can talk it out. We laugh, we cry. If it's working, we share that. If it's not, we share that too. So I like to say one little word is the realest place on the internet. It still feels real to me. And that's why I show up. Um, I love one little word because it's my ability to choose myself every month.
Mm.
It's my ability to pick me. When I give and I do so many things in our lives, we have so many hats. But this right here, the time I spend choosing a word, doing a prompt, that's for me. And whenever I feel like I sit down and make space for my word, make space for the prompts, I feel like that's choosing me. And so I always want to pick me, which is why even if I'm not feeling a prompt or if I don't like my layout, I know it's like it's just, it's a piece of a whole. And I love going back and seeing, giving myself grace and seeing, oh, look how cute you were at the beginning. This is what you thought your word was
Yep.
going to do.
Yep.
And then at the end of
That's
the
still,
year, you're like, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? Because we're not, I love how we change. We are
yeah.
not, it's December. We are not going to be the same in June, in July. Um, and I think that's beautiful. I think that's beautiful. So I think I'm the only one here. I do love words, but I love to express myself through photography, through mixed media. If you ask me to journal, sometimes that is pushing me because I would rather take a photo of how I feel or hide how I feel under paint. So you'll see a lot of that from me. My word for 2024 is create. It was 100% the best word for me. And what I have found, I think in previous years, I've done good, present, authentic. Um, I need something more of a verb. I need to not something that stresses me out, of course, but something that I can just pushes me to do something. That's why I love make for you, Liz, because it gives us. I felt when I chose good, it was more reflective, and
Yes.
I just need something a little bit more doing.
Yeah.
Um,
Like I got to get out of my head.
Yes, I
I,
got to get
I
out of
can
my
just
head.
pitch a
Mm.
tent
Yeah,
in my head and yeah.
absolutely.
That was
Absolutely.
the
So
first time that you also said that that was a word that you were kind of ready to just be done with
Mhm.
it,
I
like
was. I was.
early.
That was
You were
good.
like,
Yeah,
yeah,
you did. You did feel
I'm
that way.
fine.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel
The
You
good.
were like, I'm good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm good. I've noticed the good in my life. I'm good. You're good. We're all good. Like I'm done. Um, so I've settled on simplify for 2025, and I
Mm.
feel like that's an
Mm.
action word, and I just want to simplify every aspect of my life, and just eliminate anything unnecessary so I can concentrate on the things that are important. And I mean, in terms of my house, my studio, workload, my closet, I want to just shed the layers. Um, what you will also find, like, so I wrote down all of our words: curious, magic, make, simplify. What I love about this community, we will observe each other's words in our lives.
Yeah.
So I get so many DMs from people who, if like for example, for this year, create, if they see create in their lives, they may take a picture and send it to me. Or I saw this quote and I thought about you. Like, what other community? I love those. What other community knows my word and is invested in me and my journey? And to me, that's something you can't buy. That's a community that is invested in you and just this whole process. Um, what else? Oh, I wanted to talk about how I kind of got to my word. So a few things. I wanted to do, my favorite lyric from this song is I'm outstanding, so I stand out. And I'm always telling that to my girls, like, I know you're trying to be like everyone right now, but your superpower is your ability to stand out. And so that's coming with me some kind of way. And I wanted to do fail, but I was like, that's so negative. But in the aspect of failing means I'm trying and I'm not good at it. And it's okay, because I'm such a perfectionist. And if what happens if I fail? So what? Um,
I want to say something, Azari, to you, just
yeah,
from the standpoint of perfectionism, because I think that's something that impacts a lot of people, or a lot of people feel that. I feel like I have watched you over the last few years really grow in that arena. Like I don't associate the desire for perfectionism with you at all. Like that's not like I don't think of you as that kind of person. Like I really see you as someone who is open, trying, succeeding, failing, keeping going, moving on. Like I want to say that out loud to you so that
thank
that, like, I think everybody has some of that inside of them, but I have seen growth in you that has moved you, I feel like, out of maybe the level that you were at in the beginning. So
thank you.
you're welcome.
I
Thank you
mean,
for that. I
Azari,
needed
you
that.
always do the prompts. Now, Lou, you do too. Sometimes I miss. You always show up, and that exercise in you showing up and sharing yourself, because we share how our own responses to the prompts throughout the year, um, always moves me. I mean, it's always like she's doing it. She's doing it. So you're shedding that perfectionism, whether you realize it or not, when you share,
Thank you. Thank you
because
for
we know
that.
we make you share with words sometimes.
Yeah.
A couple
You know,
responses for that. Thank you. I sometimes I need someone else to point that out, because sometimes I don't do things because, like, this has to be in order and I need to do this. And then if it doesn't come out like I had pictured in my mind, then I can't do it. Instead of just do it and you'll figure it out on your way. And that's
Which you have been doing
yes.
100%. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And Liz, to your point of the prompts, I I think I'm the same. Lou, you mentioned that since I started this, joining the team, I've completed every year. And that's because I look at it more, gosh, I'm choosing me.
mm,
That's Me
Yes.
showing up, that's me picking me. I may have 101 things to do,
Yeah.
but if I
Mm,
don't pick me, who's going to pick me?
that's
Who's going to
good.
choose me? It's my way. I guess me showing up every month is a way of putting out in the world that I just chose me
Yeah.
for this. I just carved out this time to choose me. And that's all. That's all. It's not motivated by I want to do every prompt and I want to check it off. And it's more of I give a lot of myself in every aspect of my life. And this is just something that I promise myself that I'm going to show up to. And it's hard. We all, it's hard. I get sick. My kids get sick. I don't feel like it. I'm not feeling the prompt. Um, you guys may want me to write. I don't want to write. Um, but I love it here. I love it here. And I will be the first to tell you when we started the Zoom calls, I pushed back on them because I'm very like, everyone's going to attack me. But it's the complete opposite. It's such a warm and inviting space and a time like I never have Zoom calls where I leave more fulfilled.
I was gonna say these are the Zoom calls that I
Passionate
look
about.
forward to compared to
Mhm.
other ones that maybe not as
Yes.
Yeah.
much. Yeah,
Yeah. You
yeah.
don't
Well,
have to like come prepared and ready to like
nope.
argue and fight. You can just show up and be
Well,
yourself.
and
And
this is what we do on the Zoom calls is the team will share, each one of us will share our reaction to the prompt. We brainstorm, we talk about different ways that it could be approached. Anybody else who is on the live call, people can chime in, there's a chat, we talk, people can share if they want to, and then it's recorded and kept in the classroom. So you don't have to be there to still participate in viewing and being a part of the conversation that way too. Yeah.
And I just want to point out too that it has been so much fun getting to know different people in the community.
Agree.
And, it's not unusual to have people, follow us on typically on Instagram. I think because it's just so what we do is very visual. So that seems to also be the easiest place for people to follow us too. But to have like when Azari mentioned people would point out things about your word and just the little things that I would get sent with like, I saw this thing and it made me think about you and vibe, or I saw this and it made me think about this thing here. So I've gotten to know people over the past few years through simply just these conversations we'll have in DMs or just sharing information with us. This is like a word brought us together, but a word isn't what keeps us talking to each other, and we
Yeah.
find different things to connect over. So like now, I'll send memes to people or people are like, oh, I figured out you're that person. And I'm like, that's like my love letter to you. It's like I have a girlfriend that we'll send each other music. So if I send you a song, that is like the ultimate in I F with you because I've sent you a song, which is let you know that there is something about this song. And it's not the I like you, it's I F with you. That's a different vibe of you letting somebody into your musical selection of what you
Very
listen to.
personal. It's very
It's
personal.
deeply personal. I mean, y'all. So y'all gonna help me manifest this man that's gonna come into my life or these men in 2025 because I have a playlist that I've been building
Oh my
for this
God.
man. And it's been great because so I'll say things like this and someone will send a song and be
I was
like,
gonna say now people are definitely gonna be sending you more songs.
I think you need to add this song. And I'm like, is this on your playlist? Yes, it is. It's on my private one. I'm like, oh. So it's been so much fun just getting to know different members of the community through a word brought us together. But it's not what keeps us having conversation with each other and having deep, some of these conversations are deep conversations where I'm
Yeah.
like, this was really nice. This was really good. So it's been great. And then somebody like asked if she made something and asked if she could send it. But she started off with, I completely understand if, sharing your address isn't something that you want to do. And I said, but again, we've been conversing in DMs for like 3, 4 years now. And I said, no, it's one of my most treasured things, that she made it and thought about me through a conversation we were having and said, I have something I'd like to send you. So it just made what she did reminded me of how much I've missed pen paling with people,
Mm.
literally writing out whatever it may be. Or Azari, I had people we would send pictures to each other, which was a great thing. It very small, like, hey, this is what happened this month. And we would send pictures. And I'm just like, what a way to connect, that slower connection. So I really respected when Felicitas said, deuces, internet, for a while, to just be in those real people connections again. It's an interesting way of how of me thinking about how do I bring that in, and looking at our words that we've selected. I'm like, oh, how are their words also going to play out in my life? It's really weird, but each one of your words, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, y'all companion words. Okay, let's see what this.
Yeah.
Wow, the
Yeah.
simplifying, totally
Yeah.
relate to that. The
Yep.
make, it's like, make a decision. You
Yep.
can't move forward because you're stuck. So how do you move forward? You got to make something. And no decision is a decision. You made a decision not to make a decision. Make that's a powerful word. I'm about to pull out the
I think
dictionary after
I
this
think so
call. This
too. That's what I like. Yeah.
else.
It's
Yeah.
like I want to write down "make me."
Yeah.
Make
Make me.
that's like
Yeah.
is
Make
that
me.
like the mantra for
That's why you just
2025?
need a card. You need to make a card that just says make me. Like it just
Make me.
needs to be like,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. These are the kinds
Yeah.
of conversations that we're having. And it is a community that is online,
Mhm.
but it is also a very heart-centered opportunity to come together with like-minded people that are interested in a project like this, right? Or just
From all over
interested
the
even
world.
in, yeah, around the
Yeah.
world. And so Lou referenced Felicitas. She was on our team, has been on our team previously, and she made the decision that she's done with social media and the internet and everything. And we're like, I mean, I'm like, oh my God, that sounds amazing. But that is not possible. And there are other benefits for me. I mean, it's, all of
Yeah.
those things. Like I think, but one of the things that I've been feeling is, and I think that I've heard echoes of this from you guys talking too, is there is definitely an undercurrent of people wanting something different, right? Like we've lived in this space now with the internet, with social media for a time, and there are definite reactions, I think, that are being felt against it in different ways, or all of us are trying to figure out how do we live with it or not with it, or finding those spaces within it that are really good, and not the spaces that are really bad. I don't know, that all of that combined with what both of you, Azari and Liz, said, of the wanting to do things with your hands, right? Like out of our heads, out of our phones. I want to make things, I want to paint, I want to be doing, I want to be making more than I am consuming the other
Mhm.
stuff. I mean, like, I feel like that seems to be that there's a little bit of that, a vibe of that going around, or else that's just me.
No,
Um,
no, I think you're
but this
right.
is a project too that that can come out of this
Mhm.
kind of thing, can come out of it, whether, in whatever way you participate. That's
Yeah.
kind of what I was thinking.
And
I love that, Allie. I wrote down this next year, I want to continue to talk about one of my favorite words that's was never a favorite word. It's a weird word to love, and it's called manageable. Not a sexy word, not a word that really gets your motor running, right? Manageable. It's kind of like moderation and all that.
Mhm.
But what we do with this project is we invite you to make it a manageable experience in your life.
That's right.
Yeah.
We aren't saying do exactly what we do. We aren't saying
No.
create a craft room if you've never crafted or done any sort
No.
of, creativity with pens and paper and on before. And you're kind of, this interests me. I'm choosing a word, but how would I make it visible, with something that I hold in my hands? We want you to make it manageable. And that's one of the best things about this community is because we have a Facebook group, there's the online website classroom, people share what they're up to and they're doing, so you get ideas. But it's more about making the choice to look at your life using this intention, this word, and then doing it in community so that you realize you're not alone. So you have some gentle accountability. Also that you have support when you're like, I did January, but it's June and I kind of didn't do stuff. And we're like, we got you. What about this? It's a way to feel it's like no one's left behind, I think, in this community. And that's really important.
And
Whether
I
it be
think
people.
yeah, I think
Yes.
that that's what we've been building towards too.
Yes.
Like we're not leaving anybody behind. We just want people to come along and join us in our little in the adventure of like getting real with ourselves about ourselves too. I
Yeah.
mean, I think that that's a big piece of it for me in terms of the words that I've chosen is how do I become more me? Like how do I get closer to the person that I really am and live my life in that way,
Yeah.
and having words helps me uncover layers of myself that I'm like, oh, I thought I acted like that, but really I'm acting like this. Or, it's just such an adventure. You just don't know what exactly is going
Yeah.
And I wanted to bring up, Azari mentioned that she thought about the word fail. And it's one of those words that I've taken back. I don't see failure as a negative. I see it as a positive. Because I saw often, like I have a team of people that I work with, and I tell I take very seriously that I manage them. Or I'm their manager. I don't manage them. These are grown women. Um, but I tell them, I said, don't be afraid to fail. I said, fail quickly, because then you know to pivot. I said, sometimes the pivot is fun. We can't get to the pivot if we don't fail. So I said, let's try to break it. And sometimes, so we hear this a lot when people start the project, especially if you're brand spanking new to the One Little Word community, is we will automatically get I failed, I suck, the world is over, darkness. And it's like, you have not failed at all. It's just that maybe the approach you thought you were going to do, maybe you got all the stuff and you're like, yes, and you're overwhelmed because now you're like, I don't know what to do. Hence, you'll have um, four different approaches because we all approach it differently, the prompts. So you'll have four approaches that you can kind of use as glean from them and steal. There is no stealing. Gleaning is borrowing and making it your own thing. But what I have learned with the Facebook group is how people have simplified this project for them. There were a few people who had said they were so overwhelmed by their stash that they were like, no. And there is one lady who she only uses a journal and she will journal out the prompt. She does not create a project. It's just an intentional prompt for her to investigate her relationship with her word. She said she's just pared it down to no fluff. There is no fluff for her. That's what it is. There are people who will create it's the creation of a binder or some container. That's really what it is.
on.
Container for their word. There are people who do it digitally.
Yeah.
They will go and build whatever it is in Canva. They will literally use their notes app or whatever you have on a device. And that's how they do it. There's so many different approaches. So don't get frustrated by how to tackle it. And there was a woman, if I'm not mistaken, I think she did the first prompt, which, just kind of kicks off your intentions with your word. She doesn't finish it till the end of the year. So she spends December going through all of the prompts and building out what she's going to do. That's how she does it. And she comes to the calls. The calls is her thing. It's like, oh, I just love hearing what is said. And most of the time we're thinking the way. I mean, when we show up vulnerable, we're not kidding. There have been times it has taken me 5 takes to record a video, or where I think I'm gonna have to send Allie a message and be like, I can't do it today. I can't even fake it. I can't even so I will just show up. I will just hit record and be like, y'all, welcome to June.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's life.
it's
It's life.
real
Like
life.
I mean, that was a lot last year. We talked a lot about the imperfect, right? And and how we are all
Yes.
imperfect. And that, me as the semi-leader, like what I want is I just want everybody to show up as they are. I don't want it to be fake. I don't want it to be like anything other than what it is for each one of you. That's why you're here, is to share who you are and what your experience is, and have the people in our community share what their experience is. And that's what, just like what Lou was just saying, like the value of in the Facebook group or people sharing or in the classroom is you're seeing how lots of different people approach one prompt, right? And all of us are simply cheerleaders too, right? We are cheerleaders for you and the project, and doing it in a way that makes sense to you in this particular chapter of your life. And that might look different than what it did last year, and next year might look different than before. And that's the baseline, right? That's where we're starting from. That's the invitation to everybody. And I'm also like, I don't want to be in a hurry. I've been thinking about that a lot lately too. And we were talking before we got on this call a little bit about urgency, and like this is a year-long project, so we will be together. We show up together every month and do, have a Zoom call and chit chat and respond to the prompt. And it's a that's the adventure, right? It's not like January, everything has to happen in January, everything has to happen right now. It's like, okay, we're all gonna do, we do a lot of deep breaths. We're always like, let's take a deep breath. Let's step back. How are we doing? Yeah, yeah.
And I just wanted to add, I love the aspect of I don't make resolutions. And so when people ask me, "Oh, what's your resolution?" I was like, "I don't have one, but I have a word." Because I know I'm going to show up for that word. And it's less stressful knowing we also talk a lot about if our word isn't working for us to make changes. And so I do feel, yes, I'm choosing this word, but you know what? If March, April rolls around and I'm not feeling it, I'm going to pivot. Or that's why we take on these other words or companion words so that we're not tied down to something and feel like we fail on a resolution. So I love that aspect of not even worrying about a resolution, but more of I picked a word for the year and I'm going to see where that takes me.
Yeah. See what happens.
See what happens.
Anybody else have anything else they want to share in this particular video today? No. Just deep love for you guys. Obviously, you guys know that. And just an invitation, if you're watching this video and you like our vibe, you like our vibe, you like how this conversation goes, you will probably have a nice time with us. And like I said, we've been doing this together now. This will be I think we're going into our 5th year, right, of doing it together.
Mm-hmm.
And each year it just gets more solidified in a really beautiful way. So I'm super thankful to all 4 of you guys for saying yes when you did previously. And open invitation. If you're watching this, come join us. We'll be chatting all year long. That's what we do.
A lot of fun too.
It's a lot of fun. Yes. And I would also say, I mean, I know all 4 of us, every single time we have the Zoom call, even if we're like, we're stressed out or we got other things going on, we jump on that call. At the end of that call, we are always texting each other and saying, "Oh my God, I needed that. Oh my God, that was great. Thank you so much." Every time. So that's where we're at. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. If you guys have questions about anything, you can let me know in the comments below, and we'd love to have you. Woohoo! Wait, don't cancel that. I'm like leaving the meeting. Wait, cancel. Don't leave the meeting. Just